that I think goes to what you're saying there about the fantastic omelette analogy. This is from CNN's Chris Cuomo. Now, he's probably one of the most powerful men in America. I mean, he's so...
He certainly thinks so, yeah.
Well, in terms of his voice, I mean, he's got a huge audience, and he's
a great blowhard.
Quite.
He's one of these great American TV blowhards. Tough guy.
Exactly. The sway
really,
he has,
just from the absolute epicenter behind the camera. I mean, just in front of the camera. It's just, yeah.
So this is him talking about the protests and some of the violent protests. He says, quote, "Please show me where it says protesters are supposed to be polite and peaceful." Can you respond to that?
Yeah, I mean, I have a little interest in Chris Cuomo, firstly because I think he and his brother are among the most reprehensible figures in American public life. I mean, if you haven't seen the clip of him and his brother arguing on TV about who their mum loves most, you haven't retched recently. And also because of his ridiculous self-aggrandizing self-removal from his own lower ground floor coming out of Corona isolation. I mean, these creations on American media, anyhow. Well, it was interesting, wasn't it, the way that he and the network he works for, CNN, egged this on in the early days. And the way in which, having egged it on, of course, the mob then came to their office, their headquarters in Atlanta. Now, the mob that that graffitied the CNN logo at the front of the Atlanta headquarters, that smashed the glass front of the building of CNN headquarters in Atlanta, that threw projectiles in, firecrackers and some other things, that meant that the police had to form a cordon in the front lobby of the CNN building, and a CNN reporter had to report live, and I have to say rather terrified, from the lobby of his own employers. That all happened on Friday night? Yeah, Friday night. The days are going kind of slowly at the moment. That all happened on Friday night. Now, the people who laid siege, there's no other way of saying that, to the CNN headquarters were not Trump supporters. They were not white supremacists. They were not institutional racists. They appeared to be a somewhat diverse crowd. And CNN has expressed no particular interest, it seemed to me, in identifying the people who laid siege to its headquarters. Again, if they'd been Trump supporters, I would have expected there to have been some notice of this on CNN. I would think they would do the odd segment about it, maybe even a journalistic investigation. Remember the days when those occurred on television. And and instead, they sort of, accepted it as maybe as part of their down payment. And in the days since, CNN correspondents have gone on to describe the people who've been looting and pillaging in American cities as people who have a sense of grievance, or as one correspondent said the other day on CNN, feel they don't have a voice. I mean, you get almost into the realm of sexual kinks on some of this. What do you have to have in your psyche for you to be attacked and then to find justifications, not just for your attacker, but to try to cover over what your attacker did? I mean, we're into the realm of psychiatry somewhere here, at the very least, if not sexology.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm afraid this all goes to the root again of one of the problems of our time, which is this unwillingness to contend with facts as they emerge, and instead to have your own prearranged set of views, and you just pick along and take the bits that you find justify that. The attack on the CNN headquarters on Friday night did not fit into the CNN narrative, so they just ignored it. They just let it pass by. That's why we have this bifurcation in news in America. That's why we have the breakdown of information. It's why our information providing networks are all faulty at the moment because of things like